the best thing that Richard Hart could do with that sacrificed money would be add more liquidity to Hex.
Cryptoslo, cryptocurrency news and investing.
Cryptoslo with more crypto gains. What's going on, guys? Bitcoin. We're doomed. Bitcoin 10K. Come on, man. Come on. All right. So I've been getting all kinds of people. When are you going to talk about PulseChain? When are you talking about PulseChain? All right. I'm going to give you my thoughts on PulseChain and what I think would be the most effective strategy behind it with all this sacrificed funds, because they have to go somewhere, right? The sacrificed funds have to go somewhere. So, first, let's cover the PulseChain sacrifice. Me personally, and this is not FUD, so before you go jumping around at me, I'm not doing the PulseChain sacrifice for many reasons from a game theory standpoint. I don't think there's a problem with it. I don't think Richard Hart's gonna rug, not financial advice. But I have different thoughts on that. First and foremost, there's like $350 million already in the sacrifice. So do the math. So do I think the output, will there be $1 billion? Let's say he collects $1 billion. Will there be $1 billion of liquidity for PulseChain? I don't think so. So unless you have secondary market FOMO, which you could, you have to look at, based on the risk of the input, is the output worth the risk? And my thoughts are, Hex did 10,000x or 300,000% or whatever, right? Do I think PulseChain will do that initially? No, because if they collect $1 billion, 10,000x is $10 trillion. So no, I don't think. So yeah, so I don't think that PulseChain is gonna be. They're gonna go to $10 trillion initially. So that's number one. I don't think the upside of PulseChain, based on the sacrifice initially, especially when we have negative market sentiment, is going to outpace what it's actually worth. Now, with that being said, what do I think the play is then as far as Hex and PulseChain? Well, like I said, I'm not going to do the sacrifice. Hex is definitely up, but I think the best thing that Richard Hart could do with that sacrificed money would be add more liquidity to Hex. Add more liquidity to Hex. And the reason I think that is because you need that money to transact. Imagine like a garage sale. You have to have X amount of cash in your cash box to do, X amount of transactions. So like looking on Uniswap, USDC, I think it was like, $7 million in Hex liquidity. I mean, one whale could wipe, and I talked about this in Hex Rect. I'm not saying people haven't made money, so don't get that confused, okay? I'm just saying there's inherent risk, okay? So imagine a whale, could just wipe out the Uniswap liquidity very quickly if they wanted to, okay? So we have that established. And what is the big disadvantage of Hex is the fact that the stakes, it makes it hard for micro investors to get into the staking because of the Ethereum fees. So I think PHEX, I actually had stated this earlier, that I will definitely consider doing some stakes in Hex when we have PHEX, and you can do it on the PulseChain. Because I missed out on that. I do believe there could be a dip, but it really doesn't matter, because if Hex goes to $1, $2, $3, you know, it's not going to matter. You know, and realistically, how this thing is set up, the biggest risk factor is liquidity. Like if you did a ratio of liquidity to the number of coins out there, you know, to really supercharge and run up Hex to that next level, I really do believe you need more liquidity. And I think a really good use of that sacrifice funds would be to add that liquidity to Hex. So we'll see what he does with it, because I think ultimately the prize in all this is going to be Hex. It's going to be Hex. It's not necessarily going to be PulseChain. You know, we have several layer 2 solutions, and the farm started this and that. You know, it is what it is. Now, could you be stuck in stakes in a bear market? Yeah, you could, but that sets a great cash flow system for when the bull comes back in. Now, I'm not saying we're in a bear market yet, but I'm saying if the sentiment continues the way it's going, you know, we could see a big drawdown, big drawdown. I mean, if Hex dipped down, I would definitely be picking up a stack of it. But yeah, I think that PulseChain is going to be successful. I just don't know initially the output of the sacrifice is going to be equal to the value of the chain, unless people just hodl and cause FOMO. Now, that is possible because the whales, if the whales hold the floor, you know, they could make people FOMO into PulseChain and wish they had gotten into the sacrifice. But it's kind of my thoughts. So hope you liked today's video. Tell me what you're doing with PulseChain. Are you getting in? Like, subscribe. This is Cryptoslo. If you're not talking games, then we're not talking.